Hello ladies and gentlemen, today we're back in War Thunder looking at another replay. This is from King Rex, which is one of my squad mates in War Thunder, and he's been featured a few times, but the reason I picked this replay out is because, well, it's about multitasking. Multitasking is the idea of you're able to do several things at once, if you want a layman's definition. And when it comes to War Thunder, what that would be flying, checking the map, working out where to drop your bombs, who to shoot next, basically set up a set of commands in your brain of what you need to do. Now what you'll find is, a lot of the best players of the game are able to do this without even really thinking, either through experience or just knowing how to play. There is a commentator, a coach, whatever you want to call him, in League of Legends called Last Shadow, or LS. I first got to watch his videos and stuff like that when I was interested in StarCraft, and now he's moved on to League, and something that I found really interesting was when he was talking about League, he said, how often should you check the map? Because he was coaching somebody and somebody asked him this, and basically he said every half a second. That's what the professionals do, but if you are trying to get to that point, maybe every second or second and a half. And you'll realize, as you get more experienced with a game, that's what you tend to focus on. You tend to focus on the map. Generally, you don't really focus on the speed of your aircraft, you don't focus on how your aircraft is handling, because you will know how that all works. You won't be looking at the aircraft, you'll be looking at the map, and you'll be looking at your altitude. Even with the noise cues, when it comes to the speed of the plane, then you'll look at that instead of looking at the speedometer on the top left corner of your screen. So in this replay we have Rex. He's in the British Hellcat, which is a fighter slash attacker, depending on what side of the aisle you sit on, and he has bombs and rockets loaded up, so he's going to be going in at lower altitude and hitting ground targets, and maybe doing some other things. Now, the reason I picked this replay is because this is a very high volatile situation. You are low to the ground. You won't have a lot of energy. You're weighed down by the bombs and rockets that you have on. You have to use those bombs and rockets to hit ground targets, and you're going to have people dive on you. This is not even including that maybe there are bombers and attackers down here as well. Flying an attacker is one of the most stressful things that you can do in War Thunder, because you're generally in a disadvantage towards the fighters coming after you. You're normally one of the first people who gets into the battle, and also if you get spotted, then you have to be on high alert, whereas a fighter, you can generally set up how you want to get kills, you can set up positionings and strategy. With attackers, it's much more about in the moment, because you don't know where the enemy is going to come from. It's a lot harder to set up. So on Sicily, we've been able to get across the map without any real issues. There are some enemies in the area, but to start off with, Rex decides to ditch the bombs, and I think that's a good idea, since they are the heaviest out of the stuff he has. But what I want you to watch is just how he moves the camera, what he's looking at. He's looking at everything around him. He's focusing for a few seconds on the thing in front of him, working out where the person is behind him, seeing if he can catch the person first or he has to turn. Setting up the turn at the exact position so the guy's going to overshoot and not be able to hit him. Try and hit rockets as he goes past. Maybe not a great situation, but look how much he's looking behind him. He's never looking forward. He's setting up where he's turning to, and then he's looking at everything else. Look straight there to shoot the target. I think he gets pretty lucky there, to be quite honest, hitting that guy with only a few shots. But just look, he's focusing on the enemy. He's focusing on the enemy as he's moving around, only looking forward to either fire rockets or adjust where he is going. So he's hit a bunch of ground targets, he's taken out an aircraft as well, and he's in a good position, weaping the engine to make sure he has speed, looking at everything around him when it comes to aircraft which may attack him. Now the Hellcat is a perfect aircraft for this kind of situation, has really good guns, has really good energy retention, and of course can carry a lot of ordnance. So he's behind a guy here in an unfortunate Italian plane, and he's peppering him. Of course, with the Hellcat as well, it has a lot of ammunition, which is always good if you like to just throw ammunition in the air in hopes of hitting stuff. Once again, just popping another plane, unfortunately for him, but checking all around him, using the steps he's going through right now. Is step 1, check map. Is there any new dots? If there are new dots, check them in the air. So check what altitude they are, basically. Step 2, work out where they are. Step 3, maneuver if needed. And then step 4 is basically go back to step 1 and try and work out where everybody is in your vicinity. Try and get a visual map in your mind if they're coming after you or not, and then you sort it all out. It's as simple as that. That's what he's going through, and it is something that I've talked about before. If you want to learn about how I see map awareness, and maybe learn a bit about it for yourself if you feel like it could improve your game, go to my beginner guides in War Thunder. I did a few videos there about the idea of looking at the map and how to figure out what's on the map and what's going on. It was back in the days when I was talking about arcade and realistic together, but it still applies to basically everything. They're just general rules that you can live by. And as you can see, I mean, it's nice that his team came in to help him out and everything like that. But there was no way Rex was going to die here unless he got teamed up on. Because you can only turn so many times if two people are working out, where to turn from. If one of them can hit you on the apex of when you're turning against the other one, then yeah, you're gonna die generally. But overall, he was able to basically use his map, always look behind him, as you can see, he's still looking at all the targets that show up on that map, trying to work out where they are, and that's all he's doing. He's just making sure that he's set up in his position, knows exactly where everything is, and going from there. It is the sign of a good player when it comes to aircraft. If I watch a replay, and instead of them just looking forward all the time, and they're actually using that C key, holding it down and having a look at everything, especially while you're in a turn, or especially while you're trying to do something else. As I said, multitasking, for me personally, that is the sign of a player who knows what they're doing, or at least has an idea of what spatial awareness is and how it should work. So yeah, it's pretty much as simple as that. In the week ahead, we're going to look at the new T95E1, I believe it is. It's basically the tank after the M103. We're also going to be having a look at some other replays that you've sent in, so thank you very much. If you want to send in another replay, the email address is in the description, so you can send them there. But anyway, at the end of this battle, Rex ended up with 4 aircraft kills, 10 ground kills, which includes some pillboxes, which he got with the rockets and bombs, so not just soft targets, and ended up with 6,500 score, probably mainly down to the fact that he got a lot of hits on the ground targets, and also was able to kill 4 aircraft. Absolutely stunning. But as I said, what you need to take away from this is the idea that you can't just be staring straight. You have to, 95% of the time, when you're in battle, so, when you're climbing or something, obviously you don't need to do this, but when you're in the heat of the battle, you have to be looking around constantly. You have to be seeing where people are coming from, what angles they're coming from, because also that means that you use keen vision instead of the, I think it's the awareness skill, which is generally a lot lower than keen vision. If you're constantly looking around, then you'll generally spot stuff which you wouldn't normally, which will, come into the radius instead of you looking outside of the radius with those 2 crew skills, if you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, ends up with another head-on, and is able to kill another guy in the head-on, and yeah, just ridiculous. These 50 cals are in a wonderful place right now. I mean, I didn't realize how good they were until, you just see this, like, popping, setting fire to everything, just absolutely destroying them. Absolutely amazing. But anyway, this was King Rex, and this was TEC, telling you about how to look at the map, basically, when we boil it down. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.